So basically, where do you really start now? And this is very often what we see a challenge for companies. Okay, what shall I do really next? What is the use case bringing me the highest benefit? And this is what we see along with the second challenge, getting the budget, getting the funding for the transformation.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching Geekscopy TV. Today we interviewed Dr. Marcell Vollmer, Chief Digital Officer of SAP Ariba, to talk about digital transformation along the supply chain.
Normal steps of a supply chain basically was producing something and then also getting the logistics done. And in the digital world now, we see that everything gets connected with sensors, that we are using Internet of Things, that we can use big data to be a little bit more precise about the demand. The demand will impact then the planning stage. The planning, the products what we want to have, is impacting how we need to source, so the core of a procurement function. And then it will get produced, the make side, and after that delivered to the customer. And everything is now connected. Autonomous vehicles, probably drones, can deliver something directly wherever it is needed. We might see 3D printing or now 4D printing basically being part of the manufacturing process. And I think this is really what makes it digital. So connecting the physical steps of a supply chain with all the digital disruptive technologies we have, that's end-to-end the digital supply chain.
But what are the differences between traditional linear supply chain and the digital one?
So I think the main difference is really connecting all the different steps and being able to monitor end-to-end with the connected devices every single step from plan to source to make to deliver along the entire supply chain. And I think this is really the big difference what we have.
You were talking about the digital transformation before. What could be the challenges that digital transformation are facing organizations nowadays?
We recently did a survey with University in Mannheim, one of the leading German universities what we have, and basically we figured out that 82% of the respondents confirm digital transformation is heavily impacting our business, supply chain, procurement, but also the back office functions what we have. The challenge is, when you look a little bit deeper into the data, how to really start. What do you want to do now first? So when you talk about the digital supply chain, the connected sensors, what I mentioned, the big data, using predictive analytics, using artificial intelligence or 3D or 4D printing. So basically, where do you really start now? And this is very often what we see a challenge for companies. Okay, what shall I do really next? What is the use case bringing me the highest benefit? And this is what we see along with the second challenge, getting the budget, getting the funding for the transformation.
This is what you are doing now.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm doing now. And core of my job as a chief digital officer is basically helping companies to define a digital transformation strategy and also execute on them. And the beautiful thing, and that's why I really love my job, is that focusing on the procurement side, we can free up some financial resources investing in supply chain in the future. And there are beautiful examples on how to do that. The smartphones we are all using. So I don't have mine here next to me right now because we are in an interview. But the Gorilla Glass is a great example for innovation, a supplier innovation. The coffee taps, what we are using in the morning, was invented together with a supplier. And here we see really, wow, we can free up money, we can use the cash to invest in future business models, and procurement can also play a key role by connecting suppliers with businesses to come up either with new products like the Gorilla Glass of a smartphone or even with an entire new business model like the coffee taps.
Someone said robots can replace buyers one day. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think there are different steps of how we should define what is really a robot. So I think when we agree on artificial intelligence, it will definitely augment the work and remove all basically the transactional operational tasks. This is what we see already with the automation, what's happening right now. But on the other side, we see also that, for example, chatbots, negotiation bots, so a robot can be used to do the price negotiation. Why is this beneficial? So between human beings, there are always emotions. And if you negotiate about something, wow, you might have emotions. And a chatbot can remove that. A chatbot is purely focused on a very rational way in how to do the price point analysis and then agreeing step by step, okay, this is what we can have until the very end. So I would not say that a robot is replacing a buyer in the future. I would say that buyers will get augmented, category managers will get augmented by artificial intelligence, by robots, by chatbots, negotiation bots. But the core, what I mentioned with examples like coming up with supplier innovations, this is still where you need humans. You still need humans also when you want to come together with a supplier and also discuss, can we do together an innovation, the next big business model? This is not what artificial intelligence or robot can do. And the great thing is, buyers and category managers can now focus more on basically leveraging the machine intelligence to focus on what they can do best, really the collaboration side. And to do this in a very efficient way, you need Ariba network and networks, business networks, to connect really the different parties, the buying side with the supplier side.
How to increase competitiveness of an organization or enterprise within digital supply chain, do you think?
Thanks. That's really a great question. And I think technology is absolutely key because you need to think about what brings you a competitive advantage when you want to now improve your supply chain. And this leads a little bit back to what a lot of leaders are currently asking, working in supply chain, working in the procurement space. Where shall I start? What is really the next thing, what I can do? And I think this is exactly what artificial intelligence, machine intelligence can't do. You need to have the right experienced people helping you to take now the right decisions. This is where to invest. For example, if you are pretty much dependent on just-in-time delivery for manufacturing customers you have, basically you might be advised using the connected devices, Internet of Things, to really track all your trucks and basically where your goods are going. If you are more in the manufacturing business itself, you might benefit from big data, from predictive analytics, because then you can really forecast, oh wow, this machine is indicating that there might be a failure in the future, and therefore you better replace critical components now before it comes to a stop of your production. And this is where you need to define now, what is it? Where do you want to invest and which technology is it? Do you want to invest in drones, for example, because you can have a competitive advantage being faster to deliver something? Alibaba might be able in the future, you order something and it gets delivered in the next hour. And another way would be also autonomous vehicles. So is this an area what helps you? And this is exactly where you need to define, wow, this is what I do now. This brings me a competitive advantage, coming back to your question, and this is also then how I'm leading after that in technology to be ahead of my competitors.
Do you think big data could help the digital transformation in expanding new markets?
Absolutely. Big data are key.
Yeah.
So without data, basically, I would say you are blind. And when you want to look into new markets, how do you do that? How do you decide, for example, that you invest in China? And when you look a little bit back, and I just heard the news when I was on a plane about the importance of the automotive industry, of the German automotive industry, investing in China. In the meantime, the largest automotive company in Germany is Volkswagen, close to 11 million sold cars. They have taken a bold decision some years back to say, wow, China is a growth market. How could they do that? They basically could assess what's happening in China right now. China has the largest population on Earth. China has the fastest economic growth in numbers, what we see around the world. China brings millions, hundreds of millions of people in the middle class. What is it what these people might buy? Cars. So therefore, it makes sense to invest. How can you do that? You need to ensure that you have all the data available. Population, spending power, what are the cars then basically what you can buy. They are dedicated cars. I was driving in one today when I got picked up at the airport. The long version of Audi, of Mercedes, for example, only exists here in China, because there is a certain market having a mid-size car, but basically the extended version to make it more comfortable in the back to sit there. And this is really, you need data because, oh wow, Chinese people want to have this level of comfort, but they don't want to invest in an S-Class Mercedes. And therefore, this is a new segment of cars what we can produce. You only can do this with all the data. But having the data is one thing. You need also to come up with the right analysis around it to come to the next level, predictive analytics. But I say it is more important to have prescriptive guidance. Help people to derive information out of the data and then to say, I need to do this next week because the data indicating, wow, there's a situation I have to react to. And this is what you only can do with big data.
Okay. Let's talk about risk management. So do you think how to do risk management of digital transformation, for example, about the cybercrime or intellectual property part?
Yeah, risk management is absolutely key because today we see what can happen. Not far from here, 2011, I will never forget Fukushima. The reason why it was really impacting also our business and my career personally was the fact that I was just appointed as Chief Procurement Officer at this point in time. And basically having at the beginning of the year a crisis like Fukushima was heavily impacting also the entire supply chain. And for us as a software company, as SAP, we are investing heavily in data center. For data center, we need a lot of components, and therefore we learned, oh wow, we are pretty much dependent by even not having direct relationships to suppliers in the Fukushima area, but our suppliers of suppliers are basically dependent on getting deliverables, getting goods from that area. And from one moment to another, basically your supply chain gets interrupted. And this is one event. A couple of months later, the flood in Thailand happened, and we learned that, wow, 2/3 of the global production of hard disk is done out of Thailand and now impacted. Another key component for a software company like us to invest in cloud and data center, we had to learn and basically also to ensure that we have the right risk management strategy for the future. Fortunately for both events, we had the right contractual frameworks in place that we could get the deliverables needed in time, or basically had a strategy for suppliers from other areas to substitute what we basically couldn't get any longer from the impacted regions. Cybercrime is another issue. What do you do if one of your data centers or basically one area of your systems is running in trouble? You need to have strategies and you need to focus on risk management. Coming back to data, you only can do that when you have all the data. You only can do that when you think also in advance about what to do in a case of something happens. Your supply chain gets interrupted, goods no longer possible to get, or basically also weather situations happening, impacting farmers, impacting productions, which might be a top tier or tier 3 supplier in your supply chain. So therefore, I think risk management is an absolutely key component, and it needs to be closely linked with having access to information, to data.
Okay, tell me about the future plans of SAP, please.
So SAP basically has one clear mission, and Our vision statement says it very well. So help the world run better and improve people's life. This is what we want to do, and we do that by providing the infrastructure what every company needs, the intelligence enterprise. Basically all what I said about connecting data, using intelligent information and disruptive technologies, integrating in one platform. This is exactly what SAP provides, enhanced by the different cloud applications where we have supply chain manufacturing, for example, where we have procurement or total spend management, business networks, and we also have total workforce management or customer experience together with the digital core, the core functions and applications what you need, including finance, controlling, what all basically together is what we call the intelligent enterprise, an intelligent way of connecting different systems with applications to really ensure that you have the right answers and the right agility also to basically have an end-to-end working supply chain that you can operate with your manufacturing sites if you are in that area of business, but also that your financial data at the end are correct. And all this basically together is the future of SAP, investing in the right technologies and basically also catching up with everything what's happening. So we are at the very beginning. Our CEO Bill McDermott says, change have never moved as fast, but it will never move as slow. So therefore, be ready, and you only can do that by leveraging intelligent technologies.
Thanks for watching Jigsaw TV. This is Yin Wang. I'll catch up next time.